I'm Richard Nelson from Bradford College. I'm really passionate about teaching because I want to enthuse people and get them motivated and understand things that they might not have grasped before, really get into the heart of complex matters and being able to communicate that in a way that they really get. And I'm really interested in the way people learn, and that's what really fires me up, is finding ways to get into their head. And when you see that little spark and that little flash where they suddenly get it, that's the bit that adds success, and you really feel that you've done something then, and that really keeps me going. And built into that is my little passion about technology as well, and finding the tools to help me to develop that skill of getting into people's heads. I've not drilled yet, I've not used saws, but I'm thinking of things like social networks, collaborative learning and things like that, really trying to make a success of the learning process from a teacher's point of view. And I find that really fascinating and really stimulating. And since I've got into that, I mean, it's just going on and on and on, and I just want to find out more, so I do become that learner, where I'm learning more about teaching and trying to get into the person's head. One of the things that motivated me into becoming a teacher was not to be a bad teacher. I had too many of them at school, and that's why I strive so much to get across the idea of what is good teaching, how to help teachers be better teachers and get their motivation from that. I'm really passionate at making sure that those teachers don't become the bad teachers I had at school. From that point of view, that's why I've got into things like teacher education, which is the department I'm working in now. Started teaching young people, 16 to 18-year-olds. Well, I started to teach adults actually in software development to start with, then young adults, and really get into that, and that's where the passion fired. And then from that, I've moved on to teacher education because I think I can really make an impact, and I really want those teachers to make an impact in their areas. And they do get a bit annoyed at me at times because I can get a bit carried away.
I'm Jo North, and In Touch Care is my company. So my company is health, social care, childcare, teacher training. You said you could put your own slant on it a little bit. So I'm going back to my childhood and my journey in learning. And I can only recall two what I called passionate teachers. One was a teacher who taught me about York and visited York, and I love it. Another one is my teacher on my clinical teaching course. And I always remember how he was an amoeba, and he did all sorts of activities in the classroom, and they stick with me. I think I've actually taken that with me from teaching right back from 1970. And it's lovely to meet some of my students at the moment and said, I always remember when you put the white sheet over you and you told me you were the peritoneum, or various things that they did. So those are really important to me. But as well as actually looking at the teachers that I've had in relation to moving forward with the learners, for me it's also about role models and practice. And so I'm looking at teachers as well as trainers. So I think it's so important that to be a good teacher, you know your subject inside out and backwards. And so that's why myself and my company, we specialise in a particular area, not many areas. The position that I'm in at the moment, we teach petals and we teach DETLs. And I've had some of my staff go through the DETLs programme, and they've improved academically, but they've not changed their practice. And so we had a wonderful day yesterday with all our partners in relation to DETLs, and looking at how we're actually going to change that delivery to enable the passion and the high quality and the inspirational teaching to actually come out. So we've looked at not just the 8 observations that is in the DETLs, but many more in the workshops. I need to change that. I need to enthuse the people. We need to use technology, maximise technology, and move in that particular direction. And that fires me. I'm 70 next February, and it's something that I still want to do. I still want the people that I employ at the company have to be good vocational experts, but also need to be passionate about their subject. And that's why I employ people. And that's what my company has the hallmark about.
Why am I passionate about teaching? For me, it's a bit like what Jo was saying about going back to when I was younger. I'm dyslexic, and for me, school was the worst time of my life. I absolutely hated it. I don't think I particularly learnt much while I was there, and how we were taught just didn't do it for me. And I found it really, really difficult. So I left with no qualifications whatsoever. So I started going to adult education classes later on when I got to my early 20s, and I just couldn't believe that I could actually learn something there. So I used to go to classes, and if the tutor was busy, I'm a bit of an IT nerd. And if anybody used to get stuck, I'd help the person next to me or whatever. And my tutor asked me if I wanted to teach. I said, don't be so daft, I need a degree, I can't do things like that. So I said, well, yeah, actually, you can. And how he was the most amazing tutor I've ever met. And he used to make IT seem interesting, and it was good, and I just wanted to be like him. And I think that was, 15 years ago now? And I'm really lucky in that I get to teach teaching assistants, learning links workers. I teach all our tutors, I do the petals, the tackware, things like that. And I just hope that I can be the role model that Jim was to me and actually enthuse them. But for me, it's they learn from each other as well, and I learn as much from them as what they learn from me, hopefully. And it's good, and it's great to see when they were saying about the light coming on. You try something sometimes and it just doesn't go in, and you're thinking, oh God, what do I do now? And then it can be sticking post-it notes around somebody's monitor, or getting the video camera out and doing it again. And actually, for me, I work a lot with our tutors now about using the technology, and it isn't about just using a computer and getting them to understand that, like for our ESOL team, they all use MP3 and voice recorders and things now, and making it better for the student, and actually asking the students what they want and how they like to learn, rather than us just doing it to them.
Why I'm passionate about teaching? First of all, I work for Hull College, my name is Mike Label, and I work in the construction. I'm very much like Teresa. I don't know if it's to do with our town, but I left school with no qualifications at all whatsoever. I ended up going to the college where I then got really enthusiastic on construction and joinery in particular. College gave me a second chance. So now with my learners, I like to think that they've got their second chance. Yeah, they might never had a great, fantastic experience in the schools, and like I never, but I'm hoping I know where they've been from, so I can maybe help them to make the journey a lot more better than I had when I was younger. Now, at this moment, in this time, we've got a fantastic era to be in teaching and learning, because we've got the internet, we've got multimedia, all of your students got cameras and phones, we've got MP3s, what people have mentioned about. We've got vast amounts of resources, which we never had 20 years ago. So the experience of the learners should be a lot greater. And I'd like to promote all them within my sessions, especially with active learning as well. Now, with active learning, when you're getting them working together in small groups, that's where I get the biggest buzz, because when you stand back and you're watching them and you can hear a pin drop and they're all working away, or sometimes it's not the pin drop, sometimes noise is learning as well. But when you step back and you think, God, they're all at it, they're all beavering away, that's when I get the biggest buzz from teaching and learning. Myself, on my journey, because I didn't have a great experience at schools, now I am what they called from a few years ago, lifelong learner. I am now like, I read for fun on topics I would never ever have dreamt about and stuff. And I'm really into how, like another member said earlier on, about how students learn and how we can get the best out of them, looking at different strategies. I will stick my head in the lion's mouth. I will try anything if it makes the learning experience better. I never switch off. When I'm out and about 24/7, I'm thinking, oh, I could use that for the class, I could use this, I could do, oh, I'll have some of that, taking leaflets away, I'll record that, and I never ever turn off. And I think I'm so lucky to be in this job, because what a fantastic profession.
I work part-time at Leeds Medical School teaching first and second years, and I'm passionate about teaching because I feel that I've got something to tell the students to enable them to become better doctors. The subject that I teach is all the soft subjects that they really don't want to know anything about. They don't think it's important. And my passion is to get them to understand that this will lead them to be better doctors, have better bedside manner. And the way that I do it is to try and do it by engaging them, and rather than teaching, to facilitate discussion. So my passion is really to engage the students and get them to talk about things. And I'm very happy for them to say, we think it's rubbish, we don't agree with it, because I think that really gets the discussion going. And I have a small group, 12 or 13, so that enables them to talk to each other. Throughout the year, they all get close to each other through teamwork and working together collaboratively. I try and mix the groups up as well, so that they're not always working with their friends, and I think that really gets them to get different points of view. At the beginning, it is the dissension, perhaps, of the, we don't need to know this, we want to know about anatomy and physiology, we don't want to know about patient safety, etc., which unfortunately they do find quite boring, and I do try and get them to discuss it with each other and see the points in it. And I suppose the light at the end of the tunnel is when one of them said to me at the end of the first year, I didn't think it was going to be any good, but I have to admit, you did engage me. I don't think she used the word engage, but so I think hopefully that has shown that I am passionate about it and that I can get them to work as a team and discuss things. So what else is it that sort of fires up that passion? I think it's a passion for the subject, and trying also, Richard said, trying to do things differently to perhaps how I was taught. And I know you said not putting the learner in the middle of it, and I agree with you about that. But I think if you can almost enable yourself to say, well, they might know more than me, and allowing the learners to teach each other and teach me sometimes.
I really want to focus on sort of variety of opportunities, really, why I'm passionate about teaching. And I've brought some examples from a session that I deliver. I deliver ESOL teacher training, both initial teacher training for my CELTA trainees and then in-service teacher training for ESOL Duttles. And on the Duttles course, I deliver the CPD reflective practice sessions. And for the very last session, I get the trainees to spend 10 minutes just thinking about all the CPD that they've done over the year to kind of reflect on it. And they can kind of do this in any way they want, really. They're basically given a big sheet of paper and they can do whatever they want. So this is what mine looked like this year. And then so you get 10 minutes to kind of brainstorm all your ideas, and then some discussion activities where you really share what they've been doing. And I really love it because it's a chance for me to reflect on myself as a learner and the activities that I've been doing. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this today was because in the session this year, which was only a couple of weeks ago, I did something new that I've never done before, which was to give out my students a critical incident questionnaire. And I found this because I was taking part in a MOOC. This is my very first MOOC, that was new for me. And this journey kind of led me to Stephen Brookfield's website and his 4 lenses of reflection. And his critical incident questionnaire is looking at getting the student's perspective from these 4 lenses. So I quickly adapted that and gave it to my students, and overwhelmingly the students in that session said that this activity was the one that they were most engaged with during that session. So they'd also really valued being able to think about all the activity that they'd been doing and what impact it had had on their classroom practice. So I just really love having that variety of opportunity, that I have it as a learner, myself as a teacher as a learner, and wanting to give that opportunity to my students as learners as well. Thinking about feedback and how important it is what I hear from my students, I want to read a little bit of a section of a poem that one of my students wrote for me. How long have I got? Okay, cool. I can read just a little bit of it. So this is from a CELTA trainee, and I think one of the reasons that I really value this is because she almost didn't get a place on the course because she was really quite borderline about whether she met the criteria. But I feel strongly about working in FE college, about giving opportunities to people that might not normally get them. So we gave her a place, and she passed the course successfully. And during an evening out, we were out for a meal, she read this poem to us. She travelled all the way from Lancashire. She's written it in the style of the Lancashire poems. So I'm going to try it in my best Lancashire accent. just a section of it. The teachers on the CELTA, well, usually there are 3. Kathy going at a great lick, Tina chatting, and Sam's etymology. With Kathy thou must show respect and never be late to place, for if thou does, thou shall be met with a Paddington bare face. Techno gadget Kathy wint, it's Twitter she's on, the energy of a lesson leaves you with a zitter on.
I'm Daniel Scott from Barnsley College and I work at the Learning Technologies unit full time. I'm not a teacher, but I suppose you could say I'm a developing one. What I do at Barnsley College, I encourage and support teachers, using a wide variety of technology they can use in the lessons or the courses. So it could range from devices, websites, digital resources, and what I'm passionate about in that sense is anything that I come across or get, for example, like today, I do push it on and pass it on to as many teachers as I can, and I hope that they would use it in the lessons that can engage and enhance the lessons. So what I get, I can give and hope that it illuminates their courses as such. It's been mentioned a couple of times, but I suppose on the flip side, I didn't do too well at school myself, and I did all my education afterwards. So I think it's like what other people have been saying, that because we've experienced that lack of education back then, want to make yourselves better now, and pass it on and encourage as learners to do more. But what I'm passionate about as well is the giving of knowledge and upping the skills of individuals, and making sure that they can do what they want to do, and signpost them and push them into the right direction of what they want to do, and giving them that spark as such. I did the petals last year. I'm currently doing the kettles at the moment, and it's just it's just been an amazing experience to be on the other side. If someone said that 10 years ago that I would be doing this, I would never have thought of it, but being on the other side, it makes you think, and wonderful things, and now you can in terms of like teaching and learning, it's just fantastic.